I'm Andrew. I am New Mode's CTO. Email up on the screen. We are a software as a service business using Drupal to provide progressive aligned advocacy tech. So if you are Greenpeace and there's a tract of forest land that you would like to see preserved, you take a New Mode form, you embed it on your website, and your supports come along, type in a minimal amount of information, and hit a button, their phone rings, they're talking to their elected representative, sending an email, sending a fax, sending a tweet, that sort of thing. And we have been doing this type of work for going on 7 years with a platform built on top of Drupal 7. Drupal 7's long in the tooth. We've learned a lot of lessons in 7 years. We are just recently launched in beta our V2 platform built on top of Drupal 10 and Vue. And in figuring out what that was going to look like, we did a fair amount of research with our users, asked some questions like, what really makes you struggle? We heard some answers that were, frankly, quite troubling and moving sometimes. I think in particular of a campaign that ran pointed at the Canadian federal government to get refugees out of Kandahar as a regime change was coming in place there. And we asked some questions like, what is the impact of trying to build a New Mode form and maybe it doesn't take you 15 minutes, maybe it takes you 2 days, and the impact legitimately is lives lost, lives changed dramatically forever, people that just weren't able to evacuate from the country because pressure wasn't applied to the Canadian federal government to make things happen. So with a ton of feedback from our users, we went into a design process for our new product. Many thanks to some members of the Evolvign Web team who pitched in on that over several rounds of design and validation. We've got to a place where I will sort of demonstrate one workflow within the system. This is the workflow that people use to create that campaign, to create that form that's going to get embedded on a website or standalone as a website by itself to allow somebody to reach out to their elected representative and voice an opinion. Just a reference, this is the sort of thing that we're talking about. Pretend those two weird lines aren't there. A basic form that asks you for your first name, your last name, your email address, something to geolocate you, usually a postal code, a zip code, an address. Allows you to voice an opinion by typing some sort of a message, might allow you to give you some guidance in terms of what that message might be. It allows you to submit and share it with your friends in your network and grow the sort of voice that's in support of a particular issue. So this is our V2 interface launched in beta just 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to go through the campaign creation workflow. I won't go into it too much in V1, based in Drupal. This is a very Drupal-y looking interface, as people can see. Sort of a very convoluted process that had pages with configuration that sort of went on and on and on and on and wasn't really a particularly straightforward process. So we're endeavoring here to hit a goal of getting people launched with a campaign in, say, 15 minutes is sort of the ideal that we're shooting for. And yeah, this is how we are currently attempting to achieve that. So I'm creating a campaign, typing in some nonsense because my keyboard is broken. Saving this basic information. And I'm going on to a step where it's giving me a sort of overview of the campaign that I've created. And it's outlining 4 steps that I'm going to undertake. First of these steps is choosing the recipients, the politicians or elected representatives that I want to reach out to. And it gives me an interface here where I can search for these based on things like the level of government, federal, territorial, provincial, that sort of thing. So I could, for instance, choose to search by group and add a popular one like Ajax City Council, Ontario. I can save this. My list of recipients is over here on the right-hand side. There.
I think I ran into this the other day, Andrew, and I had to choose a fallback before it would let me save.
Oh,
so
right,
I was
you are.
going to
Yeah.
report that. Yeah, the error comes up at the top that you have to choose a fallback recipient before it'll let you save your main recipient. But the error isn't obvious.
Sound advice. All right. And we're going to my next step, which is creating some sort of a message. We're pre-populating some values here based on the values that we set previously, like the description of our campaign or the title of our campaign. A sort of WYSIWYG experience here, we can edit the message that we're sending to representatives, insert tokens that represent things like the name of the representative, that sort of a thing. Save this, move on. Then I'm choosing how I'm going to present this to the world. Is it going to be an embedded form that shows up on my website? Is it going to be a campaign page that's sort of a standalone thing? We'll go with landing page. It's pre-populating things like my title up here based on the data that I've entered already. Text over here if I have it. And it gives me an opportunity to add additional fields, take the form that's presented here and adjust it to sort of meet my needs. But the default settings for all this stuff is supposed to be something that is more or less in line with what we want to see. And then I get a review page. On the right-hand side, I can see the actual form. A thank you page that comes with it. The campaign email that gets sent. On the left, I can choose things like if it's a campaign page that NewMode's hosting, what the path to it's going to be. I can test my emails. I can see the information I've configured. I can configure how it's going to be shared with the world through social media. And then when I'm all done, I get some feedback at the bottom telling me things I might have missed. I can launch my campaign and see a celebratory message.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for this demonstration. Now we're going to give feedback to Andrew on what we've seen first. So Maya's going to be walking around with a microphone. So one by one, she's going to give you the microphone to provide some short and concise feedback. We want to hear as many people as possible, so keep it concise, and let's not try to ask. Well, you can ask a question. That a question is also a form of feedback, but we'll not answer it. We'll probably answer it later during the break. So first round of feedback is, what is it? What have you seen? So who wants to comment, give a short comment on what you've seen during this presentation? Anika.
Speak it up.
Oh yeah, please mention your name before giving your feedback. So.
I'm Anika. I think we've seen a very fresh campaign creation interface.
A fresh campaign creation interface. Who else wants to send a tweet out about what you've seen?
Over here. So I'm not seeing something that looks like Drupal, so that's very positive.
Something that does not look like Drupal. In the back, in the back.
Yes, I'm coming.
Very
Yeah.
streamlined.
Very streamlined. What's your name?
My name is Stacy.
Stacy, thank you. Very streamlined.
Anyone else?
Other comments?
There are no wrong answers, okay?
Yeah. I see Shane here in the front.
It's a step-by-step digital campaign.
A step-by-step digital campaign creator. Yeah, more comments in the back.
Sorry, I find it also very accessible for all different user skills in your team. So if someone's new, isn't comfortable with tech, whatever, it's really good.
Oh, we're already going to the second round for like positive feedback. One more feedback here in front.
I can use your mic.
Yeah.
It's a message maker, message sender, message recorder.
Did you capture that?
I did. Good summation.
So,
That was David.
David Rowley.
Shane?
Shane?
It's a dashboard.
Hey, dashboard.
Oh, that was too short.
So,
Oh.
Alex.
It makes me think of MailChimp for political campaigns and advocacy.
What's your name?
Sebastian, pretty well made form.
Pretty well made form. Already going into the second round of feedback, which is about like positive feedback. What did we like about it? What's good? What should we keep? So, who wants to give some compliments to Andrew and New Mode, because it's a team effort, right?
Definitely.
Catherine.
Yeah, it's something I can give to the comms team instead of them giving me all of the information to put on the campaign.
So, and
Can you repeat that?
something to give to the comms team.
Yeah. Instead of, in the past, the comms team would come up with a campaign. In the past, the comms team would come up with the campaign stuff and then send it to me as the web person to implement because of the learning curve with the old forms, and now they can do it all.
So who else? Positive feedback. Shane is really on fire this morning. He's our digital art director, by the way.
The use of orange helps guide the user to the next step, so it's a focal point.
Can you scroll?
Yeah. So what else did we see that we should keep?
On this page or the page we were on previously?
The form.
The thing is to refresh. our
Maya,
memory.
here in front.
Show us
Oh,
what
it's
you showed us.
interesting.
Thank you. Team effort.
The four-step process was very clear, that you knew exactly how you were going to get through it, and that it was going to be efficient.
Efficient four-step process. What else should we keep? Yeah, Samuel.
Yeah, it's
Speak
really,
loud.
it's really easy to edit and go back if you mistake in one step. So that's good.
Easy to go back to fix any errors.
Hey, Morgan here. Very streamlined experience. Seems very smooth to go through all the steps.
Anyone else?
Anyone else in the back? I saw a hand earlier there.
You're so shy. You don't need to be shy. Oh, Simon.
Simon?
Yeah, Simon. I really appreciated the final checklist that really spot on any mistake of any of the previous steps.
Okay, we're keeping that too.
Shane, did you have one more?
The use of green is smart, so when you haven't completed a step. it's
Wait.
green.
That's too long.
There's a smart use of green, so when you haven't completed a step, it's showcased in gray. But as you complete it, you get the green check mark, the notification right at the top of the page, so it's leverage to keep moving forward and complete the process.
Great. You can pass the mic over here to Mathieu.
Hi, so I'm Matthew. I really like kind of the main action buttons always being visible at the bottom when you go through the steps.
Well, some good positive feedback. That's Cleaver.
Cleaver. I really like the last image. It communicates extremely well, and it's very positive.
You're talking about the image with
the bow part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have some comments in the back.
I like that there is a toggle at the top that you can activate to get more help in case you need it, but it's not activated by default, so it's not overwhelming the user and the experience.
Thank you, Lena.
Shall we move on to the next round? What to improve? What can be done better? Or what should we just remove altogether? Yeah, let's see if I can reach it.
Hello, me again, Matthew. So I feel that some of the contrasts are low between kind of gray lines, etc. So I wonder how it works with accessibility standards.
Accessibility is a concern, especially with the middle screen.
Right, that doesn't help at all.
What else? What else should we consider changing?
Yes, we have one here. Yeah, do you mind just passing it through? Thank you.
Yes, Kareem, is there any editorial workflow? Could we put in drafts, someone supervise it, approve it, and so on?
We're not going to answer it today. Well, later.
It's a question for later, yes? Anyone else?
Yeah, one over here.
Oh.
Yeah. Albert again. I noticed that there was an issue that you had filling in the form because you needed to put in a fallback, and you got a warning, but was not visible to you because you were clicking down on the screen, but the warning was outside of the window. So either that warning should be right next to the submit button, or have just a separate step, like a new step that says choose your fallback first, and then choose your representatives to get the message.
To piggyback on that, which I think we're not allowed to do, I would maybe even scroll to the right place if there was only a single error message, like the case here.
Prevention of errors is even better. Maybe make clear that adding a fallback is mandatory, if that's the case.
I'm curious how the mobile experience works. I doubt people are creating campaigns on mobile, but I'm curious what happens when they go to that page if they're prompted with a message to say, we recommend you building a campaign on mobile.
So who else wants to give some feedback of things we should consider changing?
I can.
Yeah, David.
Something about the typography to help optimize the flow is to consider going back to text only and then building it up with a smaller number of choices, because right now you have uppercase, lowercase, you have thick weight, lightweight, you have different sizes, many different changes. So there's instead of giving an advice on what to change, I'm just saying to make the eye flow through the document. Under low light conditions or bad eyesight, you've got to have more consistency, I think, and fewer choices in typography.
Thank you, David. What's your name?
Sebastian again. It depends on some places, but when there are colors, I find it's okay. But in some places where there is no color at all, no range, I find it a little bit wireframey or too grayscale at some point.
Color, I think we have some nice inspiration for our designers later. Yeah.
I think this is the last one, so we can continue with it.
I noticed the use of the very Drupal terminology of tokens that I don't think an ordinary person would know what that means.
Okay, that was some great feedback, everyone. Thank you so much. A round of applause for the audience.
Thanks so much.
And for Andrew.